Today I'm going to give away a free t-shirt, bring you a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, bring you comics news, and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching a Comic Hero show. Now kick that intro! Welcome to this week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. The summer of superheroes continues, and on this episode, I'm wearing a Captain America Comic Hero tee. Now, inside a speech bubble, you have a facsimile of his original shield that he wielded back in 1941 when he came on the scene. And then on here, I have the patch representing the front of his costume in Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And to go along with it is Captain America hat and its American flag sleeve. Now, Captain America, again, came on the scene back in 1941 and was created by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. And there have been different other Captain Americas other than Steve Rogers. I mean, there was John Walker, who's now U.S. agent, and even the Falcon, Sam Wilson, even became Captain America. And also his sidekick, Bucky Barnes, was Captain America at one point. And I've been a long time fan of Cap, and really love the series that's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates right now. I mean, that series just blows me away. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates is another author who finds additional success as a comic book writer, and yeah. All right, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. All right, on last week's episode, I asked, which U.S. state is Cyclops of the X-Men from? Now, I gave some hints last week on the show. The first hint is that this state is the 49th in America. The second hint, this state is right next door to Canada. The third hint, the constellations Big Dipper and Polaris make up this state's flag. And then the fourth and final hint, this state is the only other state in America besides Louisiana to have parishes. Well, the correct answer is Alaska. And 10 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their name's been entered in a drawing for a free tee. That drawing takes place right now. So the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Captain Kalen. Now, this is someone who answered on Instagram who I don't follow. So congratulations, you win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. All right, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is a DC question. What is Plastic Man's real name? Everyone who answers correctly been entered in a drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. All right, now Mike Hart from Monroe, Louisiana has requested a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, and this one features a former flame of the Joker going up against a new flame of the Joker. Representing DC, we have Harley Quinn. And also representing DC, we have Punchline. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call
The Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown.
Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Harley Quinn versus Punchline. Harley Quinn is a trained psychiatrist and expert gymnast who possesses immunity to various toxins and utilization of weaponized props. Punchline is a chemical engineer and expert hand-to-hand and bladed combatant who possesses various weapons and toxicity. Who would win? Harley would be so blind with rage that this fight wouldn't last long at all. She would violently swing her mallet at Punchline, but the latter would avoid her swings. Punchline then pulls one of her plugs out of her earlobe and stabs Harley with it. The tip of the plug contains a strong dose of antitoxins that immediately strips Harley of both the immunity to toxins, but restores her sanity. Harley then asks, "What happened? Why is my hair two different colors? Why am I dressed up like a sideshow clown from the ghetto?" Punchline abruptly pulls out a Glock and shoots Harley. She then says, "Some folks just don't appreciate anything." Punchline wins, and that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Thank you, Mike Hart, for that request. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll have another one for next week. Now it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, there's only one thing I'm going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and that's my review of the current Black Panther series. Now, it's written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. Now, I said at the beginning of the show that Ta-Nehisi Coates is an author. I mean, is by nature an author, but he's found additional success as a comic book writer. And if I would have known how good this series really was, I wouldn't have procrastinated with reading it. It starts out with T'Challa finding out that a group of Wakandans ended up starting their own intergalactic empire, and he goes out in space to investigate. And when he gets there, he is captured by these people and then mind wiped. He has no memory of being king of Wakanda nor who he is. But then a group of Wakandans from Earth end up finding him and then restoring his memory. And then he sets out to go back and finish what he started. We later find out that N'Djaka is the person responsible for the group of Wakandans leaving Earth and starting the intergalactic empire. Now, these folks that left Wakanda, or left Earth, really didn't believe that T'Challa was fit to be king of Wakanda, so they followed N'Djaka, and he's now the leader of this empire. And to make things worse, N'Djaka is bonded with a symbiote similar to Venom and Carnage. And also, we find out in the book that a lot of folks, including members of T'Challa's family, aren't really happy with him being a hero as opposed to his royal duties. And this is something that's really been going on for a while, and the way Coates writes it just delves even deeper into that. And I loved every issue that I've read. Can't wait to read more. But I would recommend this book to anyone. I mean, you just see like how much into detail that Coates goes. I mean, with him being an author, being an author by nature. I mean, just to read what he comes up in issues of Black Panther and in the previous series, and then also what he's doing in the current Captain America series, mind blowing. I mean, I just can't say enough. But Black Panther, if you're sleeping on it, you need to wake up. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, first up is Aquaman number 60. Batman number 93. Empire Avengers number 0. The Flash number 756. The Immortal Hulk number 34. Iron Man 2020 number 4. Justice League number 47. Justice League Dark number 23. Rescue 2020 number 2. Teen Titans number 42. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 105. And finally, Thor number 5. Alright, that's 12, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 10,049. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. What is Plastic Man's real name? Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to Kaylin from Instagram, who won a free tee on this week's episode of the show. Alright, the Summer of Superheroes rolls on next week, and it's going to roll on all the way through August. And I know that I didn't get y'all to vote on this one, but I decided, I made a recent decision on this. Next week, I'm going to wear a Robin comic hero tee. And the reason I'm doing this is because this year marks the 80th anniversary of the character. A lot of folks have taken on, a lot of characters have taken on the mantle of Robin. Of course, the first is Dick Grayson, and then it was Jason Todd, and then out of continuity, and I'm talking about the Dark Knight Returns, it was Carrie Kelly, and then it was Tim Drake, and then Stephanie Brown, who now calls herself Spoiler, and then the current Robin, Damian Wayne, who is the son of Batman. And I really want to honor his character. I mean, Robin was the first ever sidekick in comics, and I mean, 80 years. That's a rather long time. I mean, this is already a year where comic fans have celebrated, the 80th anniversary of the Joker and Catwoman. And all three of these characters all debuted in the same book. And I'm talking about Batman number 1 back in 1940. And yeah. And also I'm going to honor both the Joker and Catwoman later on this year. I just hope y'all are staying safe during this pandemic. I mean, we need to take this very seriously, folks. This is a very serious virus, and it is a lot of folks have tested positive for it, and then there's been a lot of people that have died from it. I mean, when you think it's fake, you think it's something that's made up. No, it isn't. I mean, if you think that it's fake, you're playing yourself, because it isn't. And I think we need to learn until there is a vaccine for this. We really need to start taking social distancing very seriously. I mean, if you're uncomfortable with going out, stay at home. If you do go out, wear a mask and try to keep your distance from folks. It's not that hard. And I'm really loving, the Black Lives Matter movement. I mean, it is stronger than it's ever been. and it's really like exposing. I mean, we're really seeing the folks that are for this and the folks that are against this, and my hat goes off to everyone that's for it, because I personally, I mean, I can say this because I'm black myself. This has been going on for centuries. I mean, we have been on the receiving end of social injustice, and as the late great Owen Hart used to say, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. And really loving some of these peaceful protests that are going on. I mean, until we are equal to other people in the world, and here in America, they don't need to stop. These peaceful protests need to continue. So just keep on at it, and for all the people who are not black that are doing this, I thank y'all so much. I mean, there's some people that are saying all lives matter, but all lives cannot matter until black lives matter first. And if that makes you uncomfortable, well, that's your problem. I'm not going to make it mine. All right, I'm Victor Nunley on A Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 318. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero!